Well, they literally don't make these anymore. Thank you so much. I have some words I want to say because there are a few things I want to say to you people. I want to stress that I'm not retiring. I'm still going to work. But you can relax because I'm not writing a tell-all book about the last 40 years at CHUM.
We're good. Hey, Larry, if you need a voice.
And a female.
I want to thank Roger and Duff and Mike for the kind words. Really meant a lot to me, guys. Thank you so much. I couldn't have done the job I did without Mike by my side. With Susie Matheson and John Shannon, we were a great creative team. Now with Pat Cugliari, you're still a great creative team. Pat's a friend of mine, and I know he'll do a fantastic job downtown. Thanks to everyone who helped Mike organize this. Lori Coates and Sue Mills, I know you worked very hard. Thank you very much.
Yay!
Yes. My undying gratitude to production who always hung in there with me, no matter what I wanted, no matter how long it took, no matter how hard on their nerves I was. Jeff Kirkwood, Corey Bray, Marianne Haddon, Stu Ringler, Wade Taylor, and Adam Karsh. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I would love to take you all home with me, but I don't have a house as big as Roger's.
Take it to the very end.
You'll never know how much this means to me tonight, but after a few drinks, I get very demonstrative, and it may take off later on, so you have been warned. You are all my friends. Many of you are my heroes. You are among the many, many reasons that I love going to work very early and staying at work very late all those years.
Lynn's thankful too.
I especially want to thank my sons, Christian, Jimmy, Darby, and Shane, and of course, St. Lynn, my wife Lynn. You put up with a lot of strange hours, and you always supported me in my work, and it really wasn't work at all, but you knew how much my work meant to me over the years, and I apologize publicly for always turning up the radio when the spots and the promos came out. I'm also thinking of our friends who are not here but maybe watching from above. I'm thinking of Zeke Stebiak, as great a radio producer as has ever lived, who made me look awfully good and was my little Polish friend for almost 30 years. Eileen Newman, who would have really loved to be here tonight. Jay Nelson, Tom Rivers, Terry Steele, John Major, Larry Wilson, Mark Chambers, David Pritchard, Mark Taylor, Andy Kay, Pete Griffin, Darrell B., Bob Lane, Bob Humanick, and these people who are awfully nice to me, Jim and Wes Armstrong, Alex Forbes, Lynn Rice, Harvey Dobbs, Dave Shaw, Eileen Taylor, Fred White, Claire Mason, Lubo Mazarenko,
Lubo Fix Monday.
Phoenix Monday. And we can never be at a CHUM gathering of any kind without thinking of Alan Waters, who through his vision, his human decency, and his generosity made everything possible. I'm also thinking of my mother, who passed away a few weeks ago. She was 88, she lived a wonderful life. My mother laughed at my jokes even harder than I laugh at my jokes. When my mom was asked what her kids did for a living, this is what she would say. She would say, well, Brian is a doctor and he's married to a doctor. Ann is a school principal. Terry owns his own software company. Sean is the chief computer analyst for Nova Scotia Power. And Lawrence writes jokes. That's true. And she was laughing with me the day she died. I checked the CHUM chart for the day I started at CHUM, June 25th, 1973. And if you're interested, you can buy it on eBay for $3. Roger Ashby and former CHUM chick Karen Smith Beverly are on the cover. The #1 song the week I started at CHUM was Playground in My Mind by Cliff Hollins. That was a moment. Little did I know that my mind would be a playground for the next 40 years. Working at CHUM was the only job I ever wanted. When I was 13 in grade 8, they had a career day at my junior high school in Sydney Mines. A doctor, a lawyer, a pharmacist, a coal miner, a steel worker, a store owner, a lot of others all came to speak to the students. But I chose to be with Donnie McIsaac, the morning sportscaster at CJCB in Sydney. And two of my best friends are here who also worked at CJCB, Greg Lee and Dave Crichton, who when I knew him at CJCB was known as Dave A-Go-Go. Everywhere Donnie McIsaac said, and when the hour was wrapping up, a friend of mine at the back of the class, and I'll never forget his name was Billy Merritt, he raised his hand and he said, Donnie, he said, is it true that there's a radio station in Toronto that plays rock and roll music 24 hours a day? And Donnie McIsaac said, yes there is, the great 1050 CHUM. And at that instant, I knew where I wanted to spend my life. Flash forward, I spent a year at Acadia University, basically living at the student radio station. I've quit school to get into radio, and now I'm 9 months into my first job as a copywriter at CKEC in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. I'm on the switchboard because the switchboard operator is at lunch. It's June 8th, it's my 20th birthday. The phone rings. A guy says, can I speak to Larry McGinnis? I say, speaking. He says, Larry, my name is Mike Kornfeld. I'm calling from CHUM in Toronto, and I'm wondering if you'd like to work for us. Now remember, all my friends knew my dream job was to work at CHUM. I haven't sent CHUM a tape or applied for a job. It's my birthday. I think it's a birthday joke. So I hang up. And then something miraculous happens. The guy from CHUM calls back. Turns out Ron Cosper, they got hold of a demo tape I'd sent 4 months earlier to CKTV in St. Catharines, Ontario. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 2 weeks later, Mike Kornfeld and the great CHUM writer Steve Boylan, who's here with us today, and everybody asks me, who is that guy with the long hair? That's Steve Boylan. Mike and Steve picked me up at the airport in the CHUM cruiser. Jim Van Horn is blasting on the radio, and he sounds fantastic. As we pull out from the airport, the traffic parts and gives way for us. Cars pull off to the side of the road. They're honking their horns and they're waving because it is the CHUM cruiser after all. My new boss sitting in the front seat turns to me in the back and he says, they think you're a star, kid. That night with their wives, they take me out to dinner and then to my apartment, which, by the way, they have already paid for a month in advance, in which they have stocked with groceries. That's CHUM, baby.
Yeah.
I wake up the next morning dying to listen to Jay Nelson, who I've heard so much about, and he sounds fantastic. He's tight, he's funny, he's smart, and 2 breaks in, I find out that it's not Jay at all. It is 23-year-old Roger Ashby filling in for Jay, who's on vacation. That was an omen for my future. What I didn't know until that day was that there was another CHUM in the same building. And it was, at the time, the hippest, the smartest, the farthest out radio station in the world. Stereo 104, CHUM FM.
God bless.
Weekly Q, 140,000. But you talk about a playground in your mind. On 1050 CHUM when I started, it was Jay Nelson, John Gilbert, Roger Ashby, Terry Steele, Tom Rivers, Scott Carpenter, Jim Van Horn. World class, everyone, and Scott Carpenter's here. Great to have you here today, Scott.